I'm Laisha Robinson, your host for Career and Technical Education, #Build a Future. Working in St. Lucie Public Schools with the Career and Technical Education, CTE programs and department, we want to show what our students and our teachers are doing in the classroom to close the skills gap in multiple fields. The students in these programs are earning industry certifications, which create more opportunities and options for all students at their high school graduation. In this upcoming episode, you will meet Mr. Julius Guerra from Fort Pierce Westwood Academy, the West Prep Magnet, and learn more about the game, simulation, animation programming, which is a part of St. Lucie Public Schools. All right, welcome. Please go ahead and introduce yourself in the school.
Hi, yes, I'm Julius Guerra. I teach computers at Fort Pierce Westwood High School.
Welcome.
And I'm Seth Guerra. I'm a student for the said course in my junior year.
All right. So, Mr. G, all right, working with students in this program, what would you say is your experience coming from the field? Or even if it's like the conferences you've attended, what do you contribute to the classroom?
I have been an educator for nearly a decade now, but I came out of the field of repairing computers, building computers, setting up networks for businesses. I used to do a lot of pro bono work and offer my services to try to help nonprofits and whatnot. But being out in the field and being able to repair the computers, set up the networks, I bring a real world to the classroom.
Okay. So please explain for our audience what exactly is Game, Simulation, Animation Programming Academy?
Yeah, well, that's a mouthful. It includes a lot of different aspects from the real world, whether it's playing the games, creating the games, and all the different aspects that create that entire industry, getting to be a billion-dollar industry nowadays. So students will see every aspect, whether they want to play the game, create the game, or be in the back end of recording or streaming the game.
Okay. So for any parents that are viewing or for our viewing audience, why is it important that this program is at the high school level? Why not wait till college? What is the importance of that?
Definitely. Well, we're trying to migrate down a lot of that information into the, even into the junior high schools, into the lower grades, so they can be on that forefront when they get to high school, so they can be ready for a career, so they can actually have the option of career or college when they graduate.
Okay. So if we were to shadow a student in your classroom or just observe your classroom, what can we expect to see, or what some of the hands-on experiences that you're giving your students?
In the beginning, it's a lot of, let's call it soft skills that employers are looking for. But as they get into it, they're going to get their hands dirty repairing computers. They're going to be actually creating the code that'll, whether it's going to create animation, whether it'll create the networking that's going to support the games that they play. So they'll be creating stuff right into their second semester.
Okay. Now, Seth, why did you decide to join this program?
Personally, I've been very interested in games for my whole childhood, basically. And I started working on games, I'd say about 5-6 years ago with the Scratch engine. And I worked my way over and discovered the Unity engine. And with that, I've basically started growing with that and made my first game that I ever published using it.
Okay. So you said you published a game. Can you explain more about that?
I just followed a few of the simple tutorials, and with about, I'd say, a month in development, I released a simple first-person shooter using the assets that Unity supplies me with in their Unity store.
Okay. So, Mr. G, having Seth say that he's already created a product, what does that mean for students? I mean, is that something that's kind of like unheard of, or is that something that's very unique for students to have this opportunity at a young age as well?
Not necessarily. Because of technology, we've bridged a lot of the gaps. So students nowadays, I mean, you're obviously hearing about the TikTokers and those others, but there are a lot of creative young students, if you will, that are just making all kinds of things. Even most recently, there was a young man I was reading about who was tracking Elon Musk's plane. And he's trying to, just not to do it facetiously, but he's created this app. He's a young man actually in college in the University of Florida, and created an app to track planes of wealthy individuals. So no, it's not uncommon, and it's pretty cool that he's actually been able to create it, publish it, so his friends and the public can actually play his game.
So would you say there's entrepreneurship is also involved in your program as well?
Definitely. That's a main piece that I try to include as a entrepreneur myself, trying to start a nonprofit and create things that hopefully the community will be able to benefit from. I find a lot of gratification in that.
Okay. So one of the things I want to actually highlight, because I've actually had the opportunity to actually go into your classroom, see you working, and seeing many students. And one thing I must say is that oftentimes there's a stigma around game simulations that it's a male-dominated world. But in your classroom, I'm saying basically it was literally 50% female, 50% males. If not, it seemed like a few more females in one of the classes.
It's getting up there. It still is a minority. So I do want to see more females get into technology, get into the gaming. And for some reason, and I hope females don't feel this way, they feel intimidated by the males, and they shouldn't, because they can definitely dominate.
Okay. So what would you say, for Seth, what are your career goals? Because you already have a game out there, you've published it. So what are your career goals once you graduate from high school?
Well, my career goals are basically to get into the field, to join either a big studio that's working on these AAA games, or just an indie development studio with a smaller crew, something for making games or helping that process.
Okay. So let's take a step back, because you're talking about how you basically create this product, but what are the courses that are available to students for the program?
Yes, what we start off as is learning some basics, whether it be Microsoft Office, whether it be an operating system, to get them a foundation of the technology, and then they can choose a path, whether they want to go into hardware or networking, or they want to go into the gaming, the programming, and that other type of game simulation.
Now, do you feel like with the technology that these students are using, is it the same advanced technology that's out there in the real world?
Absolutely. The stuff we're teaching them is on the cutting edge. If it's not the most advanced technology, at least they're learning the foundation so they can learn it at a much more rapid pace.
Okay. So what about for those students who are thinking about, this is a career pathway. They could go either to college or to work really when they're done. So for those students that are doing more of career exploration, they're not sure what they want to do, are you offering any opportunities for students to get maybe some connection to post-secondary institutions, or are you talking about that in your classroom?
Yeah, definitely, because the industry certifications that they earn in the classroom can constitute as college credits. So it definitely can give them a jump start if they are going to college, but it's not something that all the students right nowadays are looking to. With the more credentials and industry certifications, I think a lot more employers, even in the financial industry, are looking to hire specialty individuals as opposed to just college graduates.
Now, with industry certification, which industry certifications are you actually offering your students?
Well, there's quite a plethora right now. We were looking at programming. You can program in C#, you can program in HTML, you can program in Python, so there's a bunch of different programming languages. Then we go into the Microsoft Technology Associate, so there's a plethora in there. You can learn operating systems, mobility and devices, and then we get into some of the vendor neutrals, which are just Microsoft, just Cisco, but they look at all the different technologies. So they're learning quite a bit, and I guess they just have to pick and choose so they're not overwhelmed.
Okay. Now, Seth, industry certifications, have you earned any, and which ones are you planning on still obtaining?
I've earned the basic ones for C# and Unity during my sophomore year, and during my freshman year I gained the basics for operating systems and the main things for Microsoft's Word, PowerPoint, Excel. I've got all those, and I'm planning on getting the advanced levels for Unity and C#.
Okay. So with these industry certifications that you've actually already earned and you plan on earning, what do you see yourself doing with these certifications? Do you think it's actually, it applies to, let's say, your future goals? Does it apply to even being an entrepreneur?
Absolutely. Main thing with the certifications is they help you learn these core mechanics within whatever thing the certification is aiming at, and it basically proves that you know this much about the specific item. For example, with the Unity cert, like I know basic Unity knowledge, but once I get to the advanced one, it proves I am an advanced user of the engine.
Okay. So what has been the most exciting experience for you while you're at Fort Pierce Westwood in the program?
I guess it's probably growing through Unity, because with everything changing and it's getting constant updates, I'm learning new ways to develop things, and I'm trying new branches within making games and using the engine and trying to find unique ways to make a game.
And playing after school is pretty fun too.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned playing after school. What do you mean by that? Do you have like a club or organization that your students are involved in?
Oh, well, yes. The esports is a huge industry that we have an after-school program for that allows students to become professionals in the gaming industry, to play the game, not just create it. So this is that front-end user playing the game, competing with professionals, and we do different things like Rocket League, Smash Brothers, Minecraft, and that universe is also expanding.
So with these, well, I would say organization, this club, are students actually, because you had mentioned competitions, so students are actually competing against other students or others around the world? How does that work?
Yes, yes. So the esports is a global event, and right now we are in the national. So we're looking at competing with other schools right now, just locally in Florida, and then as we expand out. Unfortunately, because of this pandemic, we haven't had a chance to expand as rapidly as we did, but I see that coming very shortly.
Okay. Now, Seth, are you also a part of this of esports?
I'm representing the Smash Bros. Part of it with many talented people. I would say I'm definitely not the best of the team.
All right, so then roughly, are you still, like, let's say if a student is watching this and the student is at Fort Pierce Westwood right now, and they're saying, hey, I would like to join, is there an opportunity still, is it still available for them?
Absolutely, absolutely.
All
So
right.
we're always trying to keep the rosters open, but it's based on academics and first come, first serve.
Okay. So with, you had mentioned like employability skills, soft skills. Have students actually started talking with you or speaking with you about these are career paths they would like to take? What are some examples that they've shared with you?
Well, some of the students are looking at that gaming. They like that. They like the programming. Some of them are actually more interested in the networking aspect and becoming an administrator of said networks, like our entire school's network and things of that nature. So they've shown a strong interest for that. Others that are undecided, we're just trying to help them, gain industry certification so they can have exposure to what's out there.
Okay. For students that are looking at this program or maybe considering it, do you feel that it's open to anyone regardless of their level of or exposure to the field?
Yes, because we can start them at level 1. They don't have to have any experience, and just all they need is a passion to learn.
Okay. All right, Seth, what would you say if there was a student that was like maybe one of your peers that are maybe doing career exploration and they were trying to figure out what they wanted to do? Would you recommend the program, or what would you say to this student who is kind of like in between another program and this one?
Okay, I'm going to need you to repeat that question. I believe I may have misunderstood part of it.
Okay, so let's say you had a student, or let's say one of your peers at Fort Pierce Westwood, and they were interested, or they were curious, or they're not sure. They're maybe between like another program and this one, and they're trying to see if this program is for them. What would you tell that student?
I'll tell them that it's a all-in-one course. It can help with basically core building skills for any job, thanks to Mr. G's teachings, but also if they're working on computers or electronicals or stuff like that, it will be very useful for programming, software development, hardware development, or anything within the field of electronics.
Okay. So what would you say are the opportunities? So let's say with the esports side, are there opportunities, like career opportunities outside of high school for this?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, it's a billion-dollar industry, so whether they want to play the game, be at the back end, record the game, stream the game, narrate the game, the list goes on as to the different occupations that are available within that industry.
Okay. So what would you say is the most rewarding or the most beneficial part of this program, being an educator?
For me, having students come back after they've graduated and thank me for the industry certifications that I've helped them obtain, for many of them it just equaled more money.
Okay. Are there scholarship opportunities for students?
Yes, definitely. Especially within the esports, that's just one opportunity. Basically going through my program and completing everything as a program completer, getting the Bright Future Scholarship. So yeah, there's a plethora of different opportunities out there.
Okay. And Seth, what do you think about with hearing what Mr. G was just mentioning about opportunities that are out there and scholarships? What does it mean for you as a student and other students as well?
Well, the opportunities there are very plentiful. There's many scholarships, many things that you can get throughout the course, and I'm just grateful to be a part of it.
Okay. So I kind of want to take a step back and kind of explain, because I know we talked about students getting college scholarships, but also not only that, but it's articulation credit. Can you explain what articulation agreement is and how does that impact what does that mean for students that actually complete your program?
Well, the articulation agreement basically is the state going to the college and saying, hey, if a student completes this course within our high school and you teach it, can you bring that credit for the student? And that's exactly what it's doing. So it's giving the student college credits before they even enter college so they can accelerate that path, save money. So I think that's a great opportunity also.
Okay, so for students that go to the next level and they go on to college, would you say that there's entry-level positions? Is there a demand for anyone in this industry?
There has to be, because colleges are creating new 2- and 4-year programs just for it.
Okay, so with the industry certifications that we had mentioned before, that you had mentioned, you both are there opportunities, let's say if a student wanted to go to work while they're still in high school, is there an opportunity for them to actually go to work while they're still in high school?
Oh, definitely. Locally in the area here, I've contacted a lot of different employers because I am looking to increase our advisory board for the school, which just gives us a good insight as to what's important in the community for job skills. But definitely, even just talking with Seth right here, I've talked with the Unity company, and they're based out of California. They have a satellite office in Orlando, and that's something that he might be able to work out of home over the summer, building some different, whether it be animated things or building some kind of game component. He can get paid from home probably anywhere between 15 and 16 an hour, so we don't have to worry about what minimum wage is now that we actually have certifications under our belt.
Okay, so with those students who are getting those certifications, and like you mentioned, there's a demand for that. So would you say that, because some students, they actually go into a program, a CT program, and they're curious, like, well, hey, I don't want to feel like my time is wasted. I want to make sure that this is meaningful opportunities for me, and there will be opportunities once I graduate. So you still agree with that?
Oh, definitely, definitely. And one of the reasons I promote what I call a flipped classroom, trying to let the student be in charge of their learning and be in charge of their career path.
Okay. So you had mentioned also advisory board and business partnerships. What other business partners are you looking for, or have you actually already reached out to?
Well, I was privileged to work with FP&L Next Era Energy, so we're working with them as a partner, reaching out to PC Professor, who's been an advocate for us in the past in testing. So yeah, a bunch of local communities or partners that we're trying to get with the community.
Okay, so with sustained business partnerships, it sounds like that's what you're creating there over there. So would you be able to, with those individuals or those key stakeholders at these companies, or are they willing to come in and be guest speakers? Do you have any plans to bring guest speakers to your classroom?
That's the plan. So we're reaching out to them right now, and just as long as we can either do it, via Zoom or some other type of, FaceTime. So
Okay.
hopefully they'll be able to do that.
All right, so as a student, do you think it's important to have guest speakers in the classroom?
Absolutely. It basically gives us a window to the real working world and allows us to see what potential there is out there without just reading a book or watching a video. We see the person there in front of us.
Okay, so what special projects have you worked on with your students?
Well, right now we're actually doing a STEM project. I mean, everything I do in my class is kind of STEM, but we're branching off a little on a tangent and just looking at some of the augmented reality right now, using something that I picked up at our conference in Orlando called a Merge Cube, and it allows me to bring in an entire universe into the classroom using augmented reality. So we're going to study the solar system next week.
Oh, wow. So with your students that are in your classroom, are you looking at, because you had mentioned being at a conference, are you constantly looking at updates as an educator? Is that important to your program?
Definitely, definitely. Every 3 years, as a technology teacher, they're looking to have our certifications updated and staying relevant. So almost every 3 years, I update my industry certifications.
Okay. So you're talking about industry certifications updates, technology updates. So as a student hearing this, is that also important? Do you think it's important to see, almost like, 'cause I keep hearing someone say, like students on campus say, oh, we have new toys in the classroom. Is that important to you as well as a student?
It's important to stay up to date with everything, so switching out certifications and stuff like that is kind of just mandatory, because what's the point of using something 3 years ago when everybody's using what's now?
Now, everyone talks about career and technical education, CTE, why is that important to have starting at the high school level?
We're in a technology world, and so not having technology under your belt, or at least a knowledge, is going to put you at a disadvantage, I think, almost for any occupation in this day and age.
Okay. So for students looking at coming to the academy, the parents may be watching, guardians may be watching, and they're saying, hey, my son or my daughter over here, that would be perfect fit for them, or maybe they're viewing it themselves and they're saying, hey, this might be a perfect fit for me, how would they go about applying? Is there an application process for the school or for the program?
Yes, the school opens up a window, so there's open enrollment, and those would be the times that you would want to enroll in the program.
Okay. And then what grade would students go into or should be in once they're trying to enter the program? Is it ninth grade they usually start the program, or 10th grade year?
Ninth would be best, but they could enter at any level as long as they can, bring in whatever other credentials they may have if they have other knowledge, even if they're starting at a later grade.
Okay. So, Seth, now I know you mentioned like you had entry certifications, you created a product, you've talked about your career goals and aspirations. Do you see yourself kind of like staying in that line? Is there anything else that you're considering?
Of course, I'm considering alternative routes in case the main one doesn't work, but overall, it's sticking with technology, games, stuff like that, sticking with the main line.
So, all right, so Mr. G, if you could explain what this program is in, a perfectly wrapped box, how would you explain that?
Well, I try to put together something that's going to allow you to better yourself, as well as learn the knowledge that you will need to be successful in the future, whether it be technology or soft skills.
Okay. And can you share with us once again, why is this program important, or why is it vital to not only have CT programs but actually have your program at Fort Pierce Westwood? Why is that important?
What I found in the past is that the CTE programs normally are the passion of the students. I mean, not a lot of students get excited about English or math, but they do get excited about building a computer or building a game.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you would like to add, Seth or Mr. G?
I just think it's an amazing opportunity, and the grant that the school has gotten has given that opportunity to students in the area. And unfortunately, I don't see enough taking that opportunity, so I hope more will.
Okay. So in the end, students are earning entry certifications, and how many again are they actually able to earn while they're in your program?
Technically, they can only earn 3 per year with an individual teacher.
Okay. And then students are actually also able to earn college credits through articulation agreements.
Right.
So roughly, could a student go to anywhere in Florida and take those credits with them, depending on the college as well?
Just about in Florida, yes, and that's also in a national level too, because any of these with Microsoft partners, a lot of the colleges are already doing that.
Okay. So if there was a parent or community member watching this, how would they go about finding out more information about the program or about Fort Pierce Westwood?
Definitely just call the school or contact me directly.
Okay. All right. So I'd like to thank you both for joining us.
My
All
pleasure.
right. I'm Lanisha Robinson, and this is Career and Technical Education, #Build a Future. We encourage you to view our St. Lucie Public Schools Career and Technical Education page. In Career and Technical Education, we are merging the career pathways pipeline for each of our students. We are building a future for all students going to college or career, continuing to close the skills gap, and partnering with our community and post-secondary institutions. On behalf of the station's team, I'd like to thank you for joining us today.